I'm here with Mother Brain himself, Glenn. Don't call me Star Fox. That's not my name. Stanway.
Hello, Tiny Rails players.
And I'm Rob McCallum. As Glenn knocks over our water and onto the floor. We're here with another. What are we calling it? A tiny twitch? A Titan twitch?
Titan Twitch, I feel, has a better ring to it.
Okay, we can roll with that. Titan Twitch as it is. And what are we doing this week? Last week we had our first stream. We did a little Q&A. You and Brett trained around a bit, kind of walking us through the paces of the tutorial. This week, what are we up to?
I think we are also going to train around a little bit this week. So we're just going to let the train sort of run its course and see where we wind up.
Sure.
We're going to talk about some of the things that you're going to see in Tiny Rails this weekend.
Oh, I gotta
capture that moment.
Bam! What it was that? Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Arch. Is that this cool thing over
That's
here?
exactly what that is.
Okay, where's that? Rhode Island?
That is near Hartford, Connecticut, in our game. I believe it's actually in Hartford. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that would make sense then. Yeah. I always wonder about where we place the monuments. Are they in the cities as we lead up to them? Like where the station is in front.
It's a little of everything. So the way that the game locations are set up, we have a node on the map that represents the city, but we don't have. There isn't an area that's linked to the city per se. So we have like a background level that we spawn on either side of that node, or on any side of that node, depending on how many ways you need to do for it. So what we then need to do is we place the moment on sort of one side of that node.
Sure.
To appear. So that can be really challenging if we have a lot of moments we want to show. So for example, when we did London, England, there's I think 4 moments in London. We have
like 2 on each side.
It's like Tower Bridge, Buckingham Palace, the London Eye's in there, and I want to say it's another. It's escaping me right now.
Crown Jewels. You just said that
Tower Bridge is
Big Ben.
It is Big Ben.
Yeah, there we go.
So,
I played the game.
So what we had to do is regardless of the fact that it didn't necessarily mirror geography, we had to place one of those moments sort of on each side of London. So depending on which way you come to or from London, you'll see.
Now, is London the most monument-driven or moment-driven city that we have?
I believe it is. I don't think we have another one that has as many moments in it as that.
And what made you decide on 4? Just because there were so many historically relevant things, or do you just really love London because we're in London, Ontario?
You know, I think it was more a matter of, like, Europe was the first time we did a location outside of North America. And we really just wanted to make it feel right. Like London especially just felt like it had to feel like a London. So there you have it. We apparently don't have a title running on our screen.
We'll talk to Vanna on support, who did not have the title up running on our stream. Thank you for that, Brett. I appreciate it. I should also say, you know a lot of this information because you're the producer on Tiny Rails, which is our main game that we're really pushing right now there for Tiny Titan Studios. Of course, we've got a few other games that like Dash Quest. We have a lot of following on, but Tiny Rails, you're the man. You've got all the secrets. In fact, you've written a lot of them down over there.
I don't know if I've written a lot of secrets to know for years.
I don't know. It looks like that's the location of the Infinity Gems.
I feel like we need to get this title thing taken care of whenever you're in the game. I'm just not really sure.
I want to turn the title thing into a game of Twitch at this point. How many times? Over-under is 15 before the end of the broadcast.
Yeah, that's
what we hear. Because right now, the way that Vanna set all this tech up, I don't want to cancel.
I was going to say there's a very specific method to which all this stuff is displayed right now, so I'm a little hesitant to do that myself. I don't want to start all tapping or doing.
Yes, this is a very delicate ecosystem.
Bill the Cat's really banging that drum for having a title of the stream.
Over under is 15 times, but 15 unique viewers. If we get more than that, I don't know. Okay, we'll figure something out. So right now we're at 2.
Yeah, we're still finding our feet with this whole streaming thing, and we're learning the ropes. And unfortunately, some of the pre-work that's going into setting things up isn't always 100%. So we did the best we can. Yeah.
We do have a lot of questions this week.
We do.
It was the other reason I thought we should do another Titan Twitch, is what we're going to call it. We get lots of questions week by week. I do a lot of kind of utility producing. I kind of bounce around the office here, taking care of a lot of things. And here, in my hand, I've got questions from you folks. So I thought I would sit you down, since most of them, if not all of them, pertain to Tiny Rails. looks like they all do. So do you want to just jump into some of that? And if you got questions and you're watching this, feel free to fire them to us. We will actually be able to monitor the chat this time.
Bill DeCat is blaming Brett for a lack of title. I don't know if that's 100% fair.
I don't know that it's 100% false.
Neither true nor false.
Yeah, we're gonna plead the fifth on that one since he can storm over here. Design and torture for us. So, first question we have talks about our July celebration card, which it just went live literally like 3 hours ago. We have a new car pack in. It's July celebration. Of course, we're featuring US, France, and Canada on these cars. Question is, no Belgian car? What's the deal?
No Belgian car, what's the deal?
Yeah. Their Independence Day is July 21st.
This is true. We knew we weren't going to hit every holiday. And this is the first time we've tried holiday cars. So,
how did Belgium get like the raw end of the deal when it came to picking July Independence Days?
You know, I think part of it is we have a very heavily American audience for the we're based in Canada, so the Independence Day car and the Canada car were just sort of the obvious choices for us there. And then as the third car, we have tons of players in France for sure. So that was sort of the easy thing to do. It wasn't that we necessarily chose not to do Belgium, and you may very well see more of these, and people like them and respond to them. But as a 3-car pack, there's just no way we're going to get every country represented there. But we have definitely talked about some holidays at different points in the year that we want to pay some attention to. And now that we know our players in Belgium are practically screaming for some representation in the game, we'll definitely make an effort to do that.
You're being really diplomatic about this and talking on a high level. What really happened was we knew the US was going to be in there because of our fan base. We said we're in Canada, so it's going to be Canada. And that third car, we all sat around our boardroom table with the die 20. We each represented a different country. We had a big roll-off, and it actually came down to France or Belgium. And after the third roll, France got a 19 and Belgium got an 8. So that's why it's in there.
We have, I choose to believe it's more that we have a wheel, Alec Price is Right.
Oh.
For the showcase show.
I thought it was like the yodeler, because that's what I hear when I get in here. It really went, once he starts climbing the mountain, he doesn't stop. So that's the first question. Second question here is, talk to us about Tiny Rails Steam or Steam Rails. What is the official designation anyways?
Is it called Steam Rails?
Anyways, are there going to be new features that come to Steam exclusively that won't roll out on mobile? Aside from the mouse, keyboard, and controller input, will there be full controller support? So it's kind of like a two-part question. Is there going to be full controller support?
Is there going to be full controller support? There's, I would say that the preferred method for playing Tiny Rails on PC is going to be mouse and keyboard. Sure. Or mouse only. But we will have controller support in there. It's going to be fairly cursory. I don't think there won't be a lot of key bindings. You'll probably just be able to sort of use the mouse cursor with the analog stick sort of deal. And then select some things. But I don't expect it to be terribly in depth.
Well, I'm actually pretty excited to see what we can do with it, to be honest. What we can do, like if you're sitting across the room on your couch with your controller, mousing around, clicking different things that come up. But what are some of the features that we have planned? And are they going to be exclusive to Steam, or is mobile going to get to share in some of the Steam? Because we did release some information already.
Yeah, there are a couple of features that we're working on that are going to be exclusive to Steam, at least for the launch of the Steam program.
Okay.
I can definitely see them making their way to mobile, but they seem like they're a good fit for Steam, so we're going to do that first. We're working on train loadouts. That's something that people have asked for a lot. They want a way to be able to switch between different versions of the train. So we all know that there are those players out there who, when they're playing the game, they'll have a passenger train equipped, and then when they're not playing the game, they swap it over to a cargo train so that they are a little bit more on their income when they're gone, and then come back and switch over to passenger cars again, that sort of thing. And they're just looking to make that process a little bit easier and a little bit more elegant, so we're working on that. We are also working on some sort of like real-time car interaction stuff. The difference between the Steam game and the mobile game, I think, for a lot of people is the mobile game is designed for you to be able to duck into and duck out without a huge time investment. And then there are pretty big gaps between stations in some places, so we wanted people to be able to sort of dip in and play as much as they want, and dip back in and come back later and do something else. And we understand that our PC players are less likely to do that. They're more likely to sit down for a gaming session from the laptop or the PC player from the world. So we want to make them feel like they had a little bit more to do while the train was actually traveling. So we're introducing a few things to take advantage of that. I don't know that I really want to spend a lot of time talking about what those are. I'd rather show them to people.
Yeah.
And I would just suspect that within the next week or two, on the stream, we'll be able to show a PC build and be able to show those things that those just talking about. And I feel like that's probably a more appropriate time to do that. But suffice it to say, those are a couple of things that we're looking at. And I know we've talked about having some social interaction. We don't really have any firm plans for an approach on that right now, but I know that's something we'd like to do.
Ben is telling us to turn the mic up. We're trying to be very conscious of our voice this week since last week was loud.
We're taking a bit of a beating because we're not in the right I don't know area. We don't have a title on our stream here yet.
Yeah, the stream is untitled at this point. I didn't set it up.
Brandon says it's not true.
With regards to those Steam features, and actually from an overall level, all the meetings that I've been in at this point, we don't want to really prioritize one or the other. We want to make sure that there's equal love going around so that it doesn't feel like two different games, where people don't understand that this isn't just a simple copy and paste. Steam is a whole other platform. It'd be like taking a game from like a PlayStation 4 and trying to put it on Xbox One. There are just different considerations to do that. And some of the things that the team has come up with for Steam that will be an initial differentiator. It's just going to take time to get it to mobile because it's being designed for that platform. So it'll come in some way, I'm sure, but it just may have to kind of square peg round hole because right now it's been the other way the entire time, right? Like it's been taking what works on mobile and how do we make it the best on Steam? So it's kind of part of the process, but we don't want to leave anybody, off the rails, so to speak.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I'd never make a train pun.
Yeah, you would. I've seen you make train puns. You do it on
I make
Twitter.
train puns daily. It's true.
Yeah,
Unintentionally. Most of the time. Just pretty sad when you think about it.
all right. Well, don't carry it.
Don't dwell too much.
Yeah, don't carry it on you like some cargo. Let's see here. By the way, Tiny Titan, while I have your attention, I see there is a Galactic Express 9000 caboose, but no engine counter built.
Yep.
Is this intentional?
Nope. No, it is not.
Okay.
Moving on.
Moving on.
You might have just gotten a taste of something that's coming in the next content.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. This is just simply a blanket statement. I want more cars on my train.
Okay.
That's it. So we gotta get the moment.
Oh, well, you need a clue.
I don't think they'd be fighting you for it.
We're both very excited about that.
It's Statue of Liberty.
I'm just trying to keep the cursor on the screen.
Sure. I want more cars on my train.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
I'm with you.
Okay.
No, it's,
so do we.
They're, okay. So, we hear what people are asking about putting more cars on the train, and we're all for that. I mean, it's not a matter of us not wanting to be able to put more cars on your train. We understand people like the cars. Cars are the most popular thing about the game for the most part, and people want to be able to have more. There are some technical challenges with doing that, and they largely stem around the length of the train versus the way that our levels spawn. So at this point, if we were just to sort of willy-nilly allow you to add cars to the train, you'd be scrolling your train, and you'd actually be able to see like the end of levels as they despawn, or like the beginning of levels as they respawn. Groups.
So like, here's like a really dumbed down version so that I understand, because I'm not a game dev. I haven't been on Tiny Rail since the inception. Are you saying what players constantly see is just a single snapshot when there's cards facing and they only ever see that? So if the train was longer, it would run out of background.
Yeah, you can think of it almost like
So we're always going like this. There's not like this big world.
Yeah, if you think about it like watching a play, if you went and saw a performance somewhere, the stage is a certain size, right? So if you can kind of conceive of that, you've got your stage, you have the edges of the stage, you have the train in the middle of the stage. What I'm essentially saying right now is when we put more cars on there, it's going to go off the stage. You actually have to actually present that train.
Okay.
That's the metaphor of it, and I'm not saying that there's not a solution for that, but if there is at this point, we haven't got a good one. So suffice it to say, if we can find a way to help players add more cars to their trains, we want to do that. We just don't have a good solution for it at the present time.
Now, maybe to peel behind the curtain, behind the scenes on the process of making games like this, was that default size set knowing that 18 is the max trains that we can see, or was that like this is all mobile can handle? Let's see how many we can see.
No, it's really not a mobile device can't handle more certain situation. It really was just a limitation in terms of the spawn.
Okay. I can get that. Making it smooth because we actually have layered stuff happening, as you can see, the foreground, the midground, and layers in the background, and the sky.
And it's not the only complication caused by the way the levels spawn. Like players will know, like we're certainly not 100% happy with the way the moments spawn right now, because frequently moments will be partially covered or obscured by other items and that sort of thing. And it all comes back to the way all these layers fit together when we spawn the level.
Sure.
So we're working on solutions for that. In fact, if you got the current update, 1.3.6, which went live in the last couple of days, there are a few solutions in there. So some areas should definitely look a little bit better. But just trying to find one global fix-all solution is a pretty in-depth thing. Like it would really mean we need to completely revisit that's a pretty big job. So,
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got enough going on our plate right now, but then enough that we want to give players that we don't have a whole lot of time to dedicate to that right now, but we're aware of it, and it's definitely something that's on our wish list of things to fix. It's just a matter of finding appropriate time to be able to dedicate the resources to it.
I'm curious where our train's going to end up, by the way. It started in Hartford. So by the end of the stream, we haven't picked any waypoints, or it's
I actually did set away.
okay, well, don't tell me, because so you're taking the mystery out of it at this point. Oh, it's just going to Philly.
We also only have USA East unlocked, so there's going to be a fairly limited.
Well, then we could probably ask people on Twitch where we think it's going to end up too.
Okay.
They can have a fun little gamble. Where's it going to end up by the time our stream's over?
Tiny Titan Studios does not endorse gambling. Gave some chance.
Yeah, do we have a gumball for that? Okay. Let's see, what do we got next on here? Can you give me a more specific date on the Steam launch for Steam Rails?
No. We have a date in mind, and that's about all we're willing to say. Late summer is probably the best summation that I'm willing to give right now. But as I said, we'll be streaming the PC version probably over the next couple of weeks, and at that point we'll probably be ready to talk date.
Cool, I like that. Let's see here. I think it's really neat that you need focus testers, but I don't live in your city, and that's not neat. Can I focus test, please?
It's really hard to focus test if you're not local, just to kind of give people a sense of the different types of testing we do. There's obviously quality assurance testing, which is what our boy Andrew, who
Banner.
apparently set us up with a
Title.
title on our stream today.
He disagrees with that. We can take it to the chat after.
He's going to have to go see what at any rate, there's quality assurance testing, which is really just hitting the stuff until it breaks.
Yeah.
And then trying to find ways to fix it. And that's your sort of standard procedure anytime you release an update. We have things like alpha or beta testing, which can be done remotely because you're really just trying to get the product into people's hands and to get feedback on the bugs and that sort of thing. Focus testing is really about watching reactions and listening to people, and that's why it's really challenging to do remotely. So typically when we have a focus tester come in, they'll come into this very room, we sit on a couch, and we play the game, and essentially they just give running commentary as they're playing the game about how things make them feel, what they think about certain things. We ask a few questions here and there, and we kind of take notes, but it really is about that one-on-one interaction.
And it's all recorded too, so we can go back and make sure we didn't miss anything.
The tricky part too is it's not necessarily about the responses that people give or the answers that they provide. There's a lot of reading between the lines, so it's not necessarily about what somebody says, it's about trying to gauge the reaction to something just based on body language or that sort of thing. So hence focus testing is a tricky thing. Now that said, when we ramp up for game releases, we definitely look at doing things like alpha and beta testing, and at those times we may very well put out calls, and there might be opportunities to get a preview list for that sort of thing.
Is the pizza car on here before we move on with more questions? Because that's one of your favorite pizza cars.
You know what? I like the pizza car. Taco car is probably my favorite.
What about the chicken taco car?
Chicken taco car. There is currently no chicken taco car.
We talked about chase cars earlier.
We have talking about chase cars.
There may be chase cars in Tiny Rails. There may not be.
A lot of us in the studio are enthusiasts of collectibles, and those things range from comic books to toys to. See, this is a good example of what I'm talking about. Miles is completely into those movies.
Is that the Philadelphia Phillies?
I forget where Miles is.
He's in Dover?
You're quizzing me on my geography. I'm not great right now. That's a good example of what I'm talking about. Now, another player could come by Miles and completely see him, and have an issue. It really just is down to the level spotting. And we don't have a predictable way to make those moments show up right now.
Right.
Beyond where they show up.
On either side of the station, you mean?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Is Tiny Titan Studios in the game?
Tiny Titan Studios is in the game.
Do you have it? Sorry, that was like a little bit of
We're ready to
believe you.
I'm a big fan of the taco car. What Rob's talking about the chicken taco car is if anybody's ever bought those blind box figures, you can get them for everything, right? But it's like a little box and you don't know what figures in it until you open it up and open it. They have what are called chase figures. A lot of variants, right? So it might be like a gold version of a character or whatever. It's just like a paint variant or something. So we talked about the idea of having really, really rare chase cars. So you might have like the veggie pizza car or the chicken taco car or something like that. And we thought that was kind of a fun idea.
We have one kind of sort of exclusive car that's out there right now. We've only given one away so far.
We have.
We want to get more out there. This, of course, is the Titan 2 car, the tuber car.
Tuber car.
You want to talk about the tuber car?
Yeah, I think we talked about the tuber car on last week's stream as well. But we wanted to do something for. We have a couple of folks who are really active on YouTube and social media who have made a number of videos featuring Tiny Rails and some of our other games. And we wanted to do something to say thank you for them. So we created the tuber car, which is an exclusive car which you can only get by being gifted the car from us. There's no other way to get it in the game. You can't get it in the gumball machine. It can't be bought for gems or otherwise. So really, it's if you make Tiny Rails content of some kind, reach out to us.
Yeah.
And within no time at all, we can basically get you one of these cars.
Let's not say that. That sounds like infinite memory talk.
No.
Now, within no time is not a thing because all we worry about is planning time here and how time gets carved up. So I think if you've got a video, you have fan art, you've got something that shows your dedication and your kind of love for what you think about the game, just tag us on Twitter or Facebook or in one of our fan communities, whether it's for Tiny Rails or Dash Quest, and we can probably work out something for that tuber car, I think.
Very much so. I don't want to imply that there's no effort involved in getting it, but it's a really quick turnaround if we have active communication with someone.
Yeah.
We just need to get a little bit of information, and it's pretty easy to get that car to people. And it's pretty cool. It's gigantic. It's like essentially a gigantic screen, and there's some interactivity with it and that sort of thing.
Ooh, secrets. Yeah. How many cars have special interactivity?
How many cars do? It's a relatively new thing, and I want to say it's less than half a dozen.
Okay.
But it's probably going to be happening a little bit going forward.
Okay. Do we got any cars that are coming out in the future that have some of this stuff?
The cars that launched this weekend, in fact, we have some of that stuff.
Oh, the July Celebration cars have some interactivity, do they?
Indeed, they do.
And there's something kind of special about that car pack, I think, the way in which players can acquire it.
Yes.
It's a little bit different. Did you want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, so for the past several weeks, if you're a Tiny Rails player, you'll know that we've been doing weekend car packs. Players were telling us they really just wanted more cars, they wanted other ways to get them, so we've been selling car packs as in-app purchases for about a month now. And this week marks the first time we have included a car pack which can be purchased for gems, so you don't actually have to spend literal money, you can spend gems. So if you've collected up some gems in the game and you've been hoarding, you're good to go already. Alternatively, if you want to buy an in-app purchase gem pack, you can do that too. Hey, the White House showed up.
I gotta get it right in the crosshairs. Tell me when.
Do it. Perfect. It's obscured by pizza. It's great. It's like Bill Clinton still living there. So this is the first time we've done that. And the whole idea is if you purchase gems too, you have a lot of options for how you can spend those now. So rather than spending them on upgrades or what have you, I mean, you can choose to spend a few of those on the card back. You can choose to spend some. We wanted to experiment with that and just see if that gave people a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah.
How they were using their gems. So.
And I think that's the key word, flexibility. We didn't want to end somebody's experience with, here's some straight up cash, here's your cars. If you had gems, we wanted to make it easier just to get a few more gems in order to get the cars. Or if you just wanted to buy a bunch of gems, then you could allocate some of the ones that you had. It just seemed like a bit more way to cater to the players and let them experience the game a little bit longer instead of just one-off transaction.
I just saw Yabber13 in chat just said thank you for being able to buy the pack with gems. It's amazing. Thanks. We're glad you think so.
You're not the only one who said that today.
We've had a couple of thank yous. So far the word seems to be positive. The fact is, I mean, we'll see how people react to it, and depending on how they react, whether continue or not. But so far the reaction seems to be pretty positive. So
we've got some news regarding gems this weekend too.
Big news regarding gems this weekend. We are doing one of the more bonkers promotions we've done.
Blame me.
This is your idea.
When it comes to ideas, I always seem to be the more generous guy saying, get more! And you guys are like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, Rob's on your side, Tiny Rails players. So this weekend we are doing a 100% bonus gem promotion. So if you buy a gem pack in the store, you're going to get literally double the gems.
Yeah, double the
For the
gems.
same cost, which is pretty awesome.
Especially since we just unleashed a new card pack that is only purchasable.
Which you can buy with gems, exactly.
So if you were to buy like 150 gems, you're going to get essentially enough to get 150 gems and the card pack, right? Because the card pack's 150.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good deal. I like where this is going.
I think it's pretty cool.
All right, is it available in America? That's what Bill the Cat wants to know.
Build a Cat. Tiny Rails is most certainly available in America. Players in the U.S. are foremost players, in fact. So you can get it on Google Play, or you can get it on the App Store. Just search for Tiny Rails, and they're very easily found.
I think there's links to below our Twitch window. Just
That may be correct.
we can't quite
If
see.
Vanna didn't drop the ball on that one, there'd be links.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see here. Is your July celebration pack delivering freedom? My name isn't Starflex.
What do you think?
It's the name of my team.
Is it delivering freedom? Almost certainly. I would argue that when equipped with the Freedom Express, and when one taps the 4th of July card, you will see the finest amount of freedom in a pixel drink.
Okay. Is there freedom in the Canadian pack?
Yeah, but it's a quieter, more subtle kind of freedom.
More reserved.
It doesn't-
Is it an apologetic kind of freedom?
It apologizes a lot for
Sorry,
things that aren't its fault.
Sorry,
It enjoys hockey. And,
do we have it in here? Can we throw it in? I don't know if we got it in
We
this version.
don't. Well, actually, I don't know if we're. We might be able to cheat. Oh, there's a card back. Oh, I don't have gems.
Oh, how do we get more gems?
Well, we might look at gems. Let's see.
Look at that. See, that's the sale that we're talking about.
Will this work? Oh, it will. I don't want to pay for them though.
Don't you know somebody? Maybe support can help us out there.
Probably not today. Yeah, in retrospect, we should have. First. I went to a fight and a hockey dream broke out. Is a classic.
Yeah.
Classic bit of comedy. Trivia for our viewers. I am one person in Canada apparently doesn't like hockey.
It's not that you don't like it. It's just that you're not really Canadian. Can you believe I left Vegas the year that they got a team?
I'm
Mr.
shocked.
Stanwood.
I'm a little shocked.
Can you believe that Vegas has a team, Mr. Stanwood? When do we get the Twinkie card? That's what I want.
Twinkie car. I'll get Brett to add that to design. That's
Brett?
There's a good call.
Put it on the list. I like it. Did we finish answering the question on the gemstones?
I think we did.
I think we did. Okay. We talked about celebration pack for Living Freedom. Okay, here's one. This is some of the lovely questions we get through social media. Hi there. Myself and a few others are interested in acquiring Facebook pages. I realize there are quite a few sketchy people on Facebook, but we are genuinely interested in the purchase of this page. If you're interested, send me a message. Thanks, Carlos. Should we sell the page to Carlos?
Probably not.
Okay. Sorry, Carlos. We talked it over and it's just not going to work.
Well, how much is Carlos offering?
We didn't get that far. We just shot it down before we even heard a number. Was that fair?
I don't know. I mean, for the right number, I'd be really. I have to speak to Jeff about it, but for the right number, I'd be willing to work at modest Titan Studios.
Can't do it. I'm not budging on this one. Glad we discussed it. When will we get level 4 cars?
When will we get level 4 cars? That's an interesting question. I'm kind of torn as to whether or not I really want to pursue level 4 cars or just pursue giving people more cars. Because I sort of feel like both of those things accomplish the same thing. I know there are some players out there who are really...
Okay, so let's clarify what the difference is between the two. More cars being different new cars that have an identity, like the pizza car versus the pirate car.
Sure.
Or like a level 4 version of the pizza car.
I say that because I know we have a lot of players out there who are particularly hardcore and are very up to speed on stats, and they've definitely been maxers, and they like to make their cars the best cars they can be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they're the majority, and I'm not saying that they're not, but I think there's more value for us in cars that look different. So I'm kind of curious as to how many people level up their cars because they look different as opposed to because they're better.
Yeah.
Even though they are from a stats perspective. So I kind of want to weigh that. And to me, like level 4 cars seems logical, and it seems like something we'll do at some point. I mean, the problem, of course, is that the more cars we get, the more sprites we have to draw.
Yeah.
For that, so it becomes a much bigger job the longer we sort of wait on that. And as such, I'm not convinced that I would rather have the RT new cars as opposed to visiting buildings.
How many cars do you think Tiny Rails will have?
That's really hard to say. I don't think there's a limit on that, really. Everybody has their favorites. I mean,
and suggestions.
To me, it's no different than trading cards. There's sort of like an infinite number of cards you can do.
It'd be cool to have train cards.
I think so too.
Like literal physical cards of the trains that we make, because I really like the art that we have. It'd be actually a pretty cool thing to have around the office. Maybe send it to some of our favorite kind of supporters of stream of partners.
That's a question I'd like to ask viewers or fans.
I'm going to write that one down.
Which is, what kind of Tiny Titan merch would you like to see? Because every time we talk about stuff like this, I think about what we could do trading cards, we could do magnets, car magnets, chains, that kind of thing. So what would you like to see?
Like above and beyond, like shirts.
Sure.
You know, we do have some cool coasters. This is really cool.
Those are merch. Those are studio exclusive.
If somebody requests them, I have a funny feeling that they'll go to the merch category real quick. Just guessing. Let's see, where are we here? Well, this is sort of kind of like what we just talked about. How many new car packs are you going to release, and can you share them with us in advance so I can save my money for the best ones? Seems kind of like weighted in your favor.
Economic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we generally tease them at least a couple of days beforehand. So that isn't unusual. I don't know that we're necessarily going to. I can see us maybe doing pretty good.
Like
throw a few in there.
This July, take a look at Car Pack 1.
This summer, one train rolls across America. One train, 7 cars. I could see us doing a teaser video, maybe just documenting those cars. I don't know if we'd ever go, 4 weeks from now, you'll have a plane of cars. Honestly, we're just trying to come up with as many cool ideas as we can, just from our rough brainstorm list. We got a pretty solid year's worth of cars potentially in there.
Potentially.
And we're looking at some other ways we might introduce cars, which could certainly increase the volume of that fairly dramatically. So,
Yeah. We're getting a few comments about the established board game Ticket to Ride
yes.
and how we should have it in the studio, maybe play it, and kind of take some cues from that, maybe incorporate some gaming like almost time goes. What do you think about that? Thanks, Cinnamon Scroll.
I actually played Ticket to Ride for the first time at GDC this year.
Okay.
Game Developers Conference. We took a couple of extra days after the conference and went to Yosemite National Park for a couple of days, and the hostel that we stayed at had a Ticket to Ride there and played it in the lounge. It was pretty fun. So yeah, I'm all for crossovers if that's something that's feasible.
I just sneezed.
You did.
Bless me. Sorry about that. Ticket to Ride, Ticket to Sneeze. Are there any other great dream games?
As in board games?
Yeah.
I'm a little rough on that, to be honest.
Let's throw it out to Twitch. Do you guys have any other board games that heavily use trains? We'd love to hear about it. Other than does Monopoly count? Is it the railroads? Do we have a B&O train car?
We actually don't. We don't. That's
like a short line. Like that seems like
we need like a little pewter.
Yeah, pewter cars.
We need like a little pewter.
There have to be 4 of them. We have to break the rule.
We kind of need actually Monopoly pieces.
Yeah.
Like do the engine.
Brett, make it so.
I think we can safely avoid the thimble car. But
Whoa. What are you, a race car man? What's your
Monopoly
Monopoly
race
piece?
the thimble. I'm a race car guy.
For sure. All right. I saw your SNES Tiny Rails manual image in the
Yes.
port of the game to the S to an SNES ROM is possible, but a lot would have to change if you were seriously going to consider something like that. There was also a list of
I would
suggestions.
say, are you going to read the series of tweets that accompanied that?
No.
Okay.
I think are we actually going to port this to SNES? Have we considered that? Are there any plans to port anything right now to SNES? Why would we post a fun image like that? Because it's fun.
It's fun. Yeah, that's
Fun.
that's really what it comes down to. We did it because we thought it was kind of fun and funny, and obviously all of our games have a very retro aesthetic to them. So we thought it'd be fun to do, and it may revolve around something we're looking to do for Steve. Not comment further.
Oh, okay. All right. Going down the list, once you add the remaining areas in the world for Tiny Rings, what new content will you add to keep us full-time players playing?
It's a really good question. We have talked about space. I know players have suggested that.
Astro Train, lighten the load, we can't take off.
I've also put in my vote for Astro Train. I'm a Transformers fan for anybody who can catch on already. We've talked about space. I have concerns about space. We're not concerned about it being ridiculous or anything, but I have.
As the pizza car stares at our viewers.
I'm just wondering. I just wonder, like, if we send you to the moon, how much could we possibly expect somebody to do on the moon?
Well, maybe there's like a time limit or something like that. It's like risk 2049.
Tiny Rails 2049.
We've talked about different ways that we can do that, and we've talked. What I think you will see is part of the reason we introduced employees is we wanted to be able to do side quests that were a little bit more interesting. So I think the idea will be that you'll eventually run into characters who will be able to give you quests to do in addition to the main storyline quests that don't revolve around having to open certain areas or that sort of thing, but maybe you only have that quest available because you've hit certain criteria.
Yeah, so it checks your
Going ahead.
progress to refresh the quests.
So I would say on Earth at least, well, we're looking to probably introduce some new characters and some new side quests to keep people busy. But we're certainly looking beyond to see what other options we might have, whether it's space or whether it's
Sea.
time travel.
What about like sea
Under the
trains?
sea.
Like Sea Quest.
We don't have Atlantis yet, so
Yet. I'd love to see like a train sea quest. Sea trains.
it's a transit.
Yeah, I think so. What do we got going on here next? Kevin Storm Gaming asks, "Can I have a cookie?"
Yeah, a cookie. I don't know if that means that Kevin is asking me for a cookie or if he's asking my permission for him to eat a cookie.
Let's take both scenarios.
If it's the latter, yes, Kevin, I think you deserve a cookie. Kevin's actually been really, really active with us on social media.
Which is why I called him out by name. Thanks, Kevin.
Very much so, Kevin. We appreciate it. So if you have a cookie at your disposal and you would like it, be my guest.
Dispose it in your mouth.
Dispose of it in your digestive tract. As for whether or not we can get you, I'm not sure where you're located, Kevin. I don't know what the shipping
If you
and handling on a
come
cookie is.
to London, Ontario, to be a
Yes.
focus tester, we might be. I can't promise.
If you are ever in London, Ontario, and you manage to get a tour of Tiny Tent Studios or come in for focus testing, I can pretty much promise we can arrange a cookie.
Don't promise anything. I've been trying to scare up some pretzels for the focus testers and I'm getting pushed back from above. Pushing for pretzels. It's not happening. Oh, look at that. Saved by that moment. What are we looking at? Is this the count?
It's a capital bid on it. Charleston capital bid.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah, a couple of people mentioning some streaming problems in the chat there. So just FYI, guys, we're aware that our hardware setup back here for streaming is not at peak efficiency just yet. We're going to be making some arrangements to deal with that for future streams. So we appreciate you bearing with us.
Yeah. Ready for the next one?
Go for it.
Assuming Steam won't have any microtransactions for Tiny Rails,
Which it will not.
can we get a mobile version like that too?
Can you get a mobile version without in-app purchases?
I'm guessing-
and ads?
Yeah, so I'm guessing it would be like a blanket purchase, similar to what I think we're exploring for Steam.
Yeah, we have only ever done one premium title on mobile. There's a premium version of Happy Cube. Actually, I'm sorry, there are two. Starship Turret Operator Guy, we do a freemium and a premium version. In Happy Cube, definitely, there's a free-to-play and a premium version, but you have to be dual. Our experience with those has not been good, to be blunt. For whatever reason, people seem really hesitant to spend money on the game. If there's enough demand for it and we feel like it would be justified to do it, I think we can. I mean, I think the Steam version would potentially port over somewhat gracefully if we went that route. I wouldn't hold your breath on it. Doing a premium game on mobile is definitely a difficult business at this point. It's not impossible. I mean, there's certainly some great games on mobile that constantly do very well. So it's tough.
You mentioned multiplayer as a component for your next game. Is that for Tiny Rails?
Sorry, Charlie.
You mentioned multiplayer as a component for your next game. Is that for Tiny Rails? Because in one of our Ask the Titan updates, somebody asked about what you got in development.
The next game, yeah.
Couldn't say much, you just said multiplayer.
I can confirm that our next game has nothing to do with Tiny Rails.
Okay.
So,
And we're treating the Steam version as not the next game? Just to
correct. Yeah. The Steam version is definitely a different game than the mobile game is, but it's not. It's not our next
I
game.
think that's what this person was trying to read between the next ones.
We've had a lot of people ask for multiplayer in Tiny Rails. I don't know that you'll ever see anything that's like a true head-to-head competitive multiplayer. I don't even know that cooperative is a good fit for that. It really just isn't what we envisioned for the game. I would like to think, certainly on Steam, we've had some conversations about doing some social stuff that would lend itself towards, some friendly competition and interaction between your friends. But even that wouldn't necessarily be direct multiplayer.
It's always an interesting thing, and I think you and I were talking about this the other day. When you come up with a game or like a film, like my background is, and you start making it, the game kind of lives forever, like Tiny Rails. It's been going really strong since we launched in December of last year. And so what you envision and tend to do with something gets met by a lot of great suggestions that you want to implement because you didn't think of it at the time.
Sure.
So you've laid the groundwork for one thing, people are suggesting another, and you always have to kind of find some way to meet in the middle.
Like the train going two directions.
Yeah.
It's a great decision that we didn't think of originally.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
No, just it's funny how you make some design decisions that make a lot of sense at the time, and then when you have a little bit of space, to look back to know what we were thinking.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense. There was some design that was done. There's a lot of design actually that was done on Tiny Rails before I took over, and we had a bit of a scrum and sort of tightening some of that stuff up before we launched. And there's still some odd bits and pieces of some of the initial design that are still floating around in the game that are sort of like, really, that's
a thing.
So we're constantly working on cleaning that up. Our Brett Muser is in the chat right now.
We're getting a call from Model Trains in terms of merch too, so I'm going to write that down. Computer.cast beats on. Wouldn't that be fun? Well, while we're talking about the next game, and it's not Tiny Rails 2, is there going to be a Tiny Rails 2? How do those decisions get made here, and what are those factors?
The honest answer is I couldn't even begin to guess. That's not a conversation we've had. I don't know that sequels are a business we're necessarily looking to get into in a grand sort of way. Aside from the odd one-off here and there, enough people want it. Do you feel like there's enough to justify doing a sequel to Tiny Rails?
How do you do a sequel to something like Tiny Rails, which is
Well, that's kind of my question.
kind of like, this is going to be the wrong phrase, don't jump on me internet world, kind of like a passive MMO, which constantly gets updated and expanded in different ways. How do you do a sequel to that? Do you like start again and just build it from the ground up differently and reopen the world like we've done with this? Like how would you envision a sequel to Tiny Rails? I guess we'll have fun with that response as it trickles across social media, but I don't know that you can do that way. Someone is saying, Cinnamon Squirrel is saying Tiny Rails 2, Tiny Snails.
We have definitely had a sound-alike game
Yeah.
in the office over the course of several weeks where we've been trying to figure out words we can put in place of Rails that would allow us to make a title. So you might say that we might hit on something we want to do as a spin-off, but I don't know that you'll necessarily see a sequel to Tiny Rails. Said if we can justify it, if there's a reason to do it, if we have a really great gameplay idea that just doesn't make sense to try and shoehorn into Tiny Rails, but justifies us doing another game to incorporate it, then I'd say yeah. Never say never, but at this point that isn't a conversation we're having. We're still really actively supporting the current version of Tiny Rails and obviously Steam as well.
Only a couple of questions left, and we've only got about 10 minutes left by the looks of it. I missed the Gumball sale on Tuesday. When is the next one? Do you want to talk about what happened on kind of Monday night and Tuesday?
Yeah, so we did Gumball Madness Monday evening and Tuesday. And we tried a couple of things there which we haven't done before. So the first is we did a Gumball roll sale, so you could get premium rolls for half the cost of them.
Normally they are,
They were normally 50 gems.
and now they were.
They were 25 gems
During
the Gumball Madness promotion. The other thing we did is players will know already that they get a free roll every 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours.
Currently, and we reduced that to 1 hour. So not only were you able to get rare rolls for half the cost, you got a free roll once an hour too, which is
for the common, but you had a 10% chance at a rare.
correct.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, and the honest answer, it seemed to go really, really well. It was very successful. Players seemed to love it. Like we were really happy with what we saw. So I think it's safe to say you will see it again. We don't want it to be. We really don't want it to become something that's predictable. And I know that we've talked about some things we'd like to do to sort of punch it up a little bit the next time we do it too.
Sorry, just clued in there to that discussion.
But I would say keep your eyes peeled because it will definitely make a return.
Yeah, we definitely want it to be like that feeling when you walk in your favorite comic shop or collectible store, and there's something there happening that you didn't know about, and you're just excited to be there, and so you kind of partake in whatever's happening. We don't want it to be like it's every Tuesday at noon until 3 p.m. or whatever it is. So Dash Quest is already taking a lot of kind of random sale windows or flash sales, I guess you could say. We're hoping to implement more of that.
Yeah, we really want to do more in the way of events for Tiny Rails. That's something we do at Dash Quest quite literally, and I think it's a great thing for players. So we're definitely looking for things that we can give you on different days of the week that will
we'd love to hear
make your experience a little more interesting.
We'd love to hear suggestions on that. Like, what would you like? I mean, getting rare cards, we have a huge collector market. We know that, so that's why we thought we could kind of tinker with the roles and the rarity stuff. But what we do like to see is possibly an event that we can maybe. We're always open to hearing things. We never agree to anything, but we like to hear it. You never know.
I'm just distracted by watching the game.
It happens.
It really is funny to me. Tiny Rails in its infancy was really just this concept that Jeff, our CEO and our creative director, had, which was that he just had this vision of a pixel train sort of going all around the world, and he just wanted to see it go. And that was really the target for the game first, was we just wanted to make something that was fun to watch. And then we did that, and we're like, great, okay, how is this a game? What do we...
Well, like I was saying to you guys, I read our initial design docs, like the very first versions, and there's been since a lot of iterations, and it was like, the X factor is this game is to watch the train. I was like, is that a game?
Yeah. That's definitely a question we asked ourselves a lot. It's definitely a neat title for us. It's very, very different than anything else we've made. And, you know, in bad ways and good ways. I mean, I'm ecstatic at the range of people who play this game comparative to something like Dash Quest. Like we know a lot more women playing Tiny Rails than we do Dash Quest. We have a lot of older folks playing Tiny Rails comparative to Dash Quest. And when I say older, I mean people, say in their mid-30s as opposed to their teens or their early 20s. Those people are there too, but it's awesome to see this game reaching a little bit different audience.
And all around the world too, right? Like every
Very much
country
so.
seems to have played Tiny Rails at some point. I mean, we both monitor our social feeds and communications. And it's crazy when you wake up in the morning and you see your Facebook riddled with so many different languages that you sit there and you go through Google Translate and you try to reply individually to everybody. It's just really neat to see. We're pretty fortunate, I think, when it comes to the popularity of this train game.
I would agree.
Look at this, Valerie. We were inadvertently doing a quest. We're in Detroit, Michigan. What?
No, I'm not going to say what this was.
What?
I was going to talk about bad things happening in Detroit, but that's not fair.
It's actually.
I actually
around.
really like Detroit.
Yeah, and it's turning around a lot. A lot of the buildings that were abandoned and ripped down, there's community gardens. It's really nice to see the city starting to rebound. A lot of people invest. So we're with you, Detroit. Last question I got here, and we're almost at the last for train run. So where will we end up? We don't know yet. It's can you guys add the train from Snow Queen 3? Fire and Ice. Now, I had shared some of these images around the office earlier. You want to talk about this?
I don't know how much there is to talk about.
Okay. In the archived version of this, when we put this on YouTube, I will cut to an image of the train here, so people can see it.
Here.
And you can see this ghastly-looking, ghost-like
It's a-
hot rod thing.
It's a very cool looking train, and we definitely try to find those sort of culture touchstones as to where we can do trains that might be similar to ones people recognize from other media.
We're getting a suggestion for our spin-off from Cinnamon Scroll. It's the Tiny Whales. Tiny Mails.
Is that a Pixel Magic Mike simulator?
Oh, I thought it was like post office, Tiny Mails.
No, it's not spelled that way.
Oh, I didn't see. I'm trying to keep it neat.
All right.
All right then. So, well, I mean, I thought this was a really cool train. I was unaware of this film franchise, which obviously is stemming from Snow Queen, fairy tale before the Frozen.
Yeah, the art is super cool. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see that pop up at some point.
Well, as we blow up this obstacle and get to a few little shekels, Brett is indicating he's a big fan of the Magic Mike expanded universe.
I'm not surprised by that somehow.
No, elongated universe. Too soon. Okay. What?
I said we're trying to keep it PG.
I did. It was a special word. Any parting thoughts for everybody on this Titan Twitch?
I would just like to say thank you for everyone who's watching.
I was going to say you're welcome. I don't mind doing this.
Thank you to Rob for joining me on the stream and handling Q&A as he's so adept at doing. Thanks again to everyone who's watching the stream, everybody who submitted questions through social media. Thanks again to everyone who supports Tiny Rails every day and makes it so much fun to come in and work on this game for you the way we do.
Yeah, I echo everything that Glenn has said, and we hope to do these either weekly or bi-weekly. We like to have your questions, and since we had a ton of questions this week, it just seemed nice time to train around
Indeed.
and answer them. So thanks so much, and we'll see you guys.
Where do we wind up?
Oh yeah, Toledo.
Toledo, Ohio is a lucky location.
Toledo. You know Toledo was almost in Michigan. Seriously, it almost ended up. There was a big deal. Ohio got it because it was a state.
Trivia.
Michigan was only a territory at the time. They both wanted it because it was important.
So if you had Toledo in your office pool,
Where the train would end up.
collect your prize.
Collect your prize. And we only saw 3 suggestions of where the title is, I think. 3 comments. How's that thing? Vanna fixed it. Vanna, did you fix it?
Then it's confirming the benefits that.
She fixed it. So we're going to end the stream by pushing F8, of course, and we'll see you guys next time.
So for Tiny Titan Studios, on behalf of Rob McCallum, Glenn Stanley, thanks very much for watching. We'll see you again soon.